2011.
I'm Elf.
And I'm Haritina Mogosanu, Manager of Educational Relations for World Space Week Association.
To celebrate World Space Week 2011, we've put together a series of podcasts to enthrall and excite you with the most interesting and inspiring space stories from across the globe.
And today we are featuring...
My name is Dennis Stone. I'm the volunteer president of World Space Week Association. The association is a nonprofit organization that supports the United Nations in the global coordination of World Space Week, held October 4th through 10th annually.
Why do we celebrate the World Space Week? What is it about the current progress in space exploration that makes us willing to celebrate the World Space Week?
Well, I think that World Space Week at any time is worthy of celebration because it really transcends what's going on right now. It's a broad look at the rich past, the interesting activities of the present, and of course the very exciting future. So, current activities can be quite interesting for sure, but I think what really excites people is the future. We have an incredible future in space of not only exploration of places we've never been to, but also using places we have been to, like low Earth orbit, place for not only applications like looking down at the Earth and helping protect our fragile planet, creating new drugs and medicines in microgravity that can save lives, and going up for a joyride to have fun. So this is all not only in the future, it's in the present. These things are happening now, and it will happen more. This is what's exciting, I think.
Can you tell us about the historic of the World Space Week? When did it appear? When was it first celebrated?
The United Nations declared World Space Week in 1999 as October 4th through 10th. As it turns out, we were celebrating a similar event called Space Week since the early 1980s. In fact, it was 10 years after the first moon landing in 1979, at the 10th anniversary, when, at least in the United States, groups started celebrating the anniversary, which was in the summer, with space days and space weeks and what have you. And in 1981, we said, well, let's try to coordinate this a little better. We saw what a great effect Earth Day had on the environmental movement and the awareness of the importance of protecting the environment. We said, space needs its Earth Day. And so we tried to get all these groups and individuals and coordinate it, tell the media, and it grew rather rapidly. It spread across the United States and then into, I think it was up to 15 countries. And that continued until the United Nations in 99, and then we at that point decided to join forces with the United Nations. The date became October 4th through 10th, and we have been very proudly supporting the United Nations since then in the global promotion and coordination of World Space Week.
So now we have a World Space Week celebration and an Earth Day celebration.
We do.
And this
they
is
both
great.
follow the same idea that by synchronizing many events into a common time frame, many organizations promote the common ground that they share, in this case space, as well as their own unique aspects, different messages to different audiences, whether it's children or adults or government leaders. But by joining hands in this common time frame and giving it a common label, Space Week, common logo, etc., it also then becomes a news event. And so they all benefit by attracting media coverage in a way that they couldn't if these events were scattered throughout the year. And through that media coverage, all the organizers of these events around the world get great leverage in reaching audiences.
So, in part and parcel of that, can you tell us a little bit about how World Space Week is being celebrated across the globe this year, in 2011?
Well, every year people ask me that, and I say, well, I don't know. We need to go look at the calendar because every year it's different. And it's not like a cookie cutter. It's the same every year. It's very vibrant and very incredible because these events are put on by hundreds of organizations around the world, from space agencies to science museums, planetaria, rocket clubs, astronomy clubs, and then into the schools, teachers doing things. Now, of course, there are some events that occur from year to year, But honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. I'm anxious to see what people are planning. I think by browsing the calendar at worldspaceweek.org, you can see what's planned. But I can give you some examples. EADS is a large aerospace company all over Europe, and every year now, for I think 3 or 4 years, they've been encouraging their employees to go talk to schools during World Space Week. At last report, I think several hundred of those employees did, reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of students. And the students love it, the employees love it, the company loves it. Every year, though, we love to see new events that pop up. Another event that is going on this year is the flight of a student on a zero-G plane. That's something that we're doing, and it's another way of inspiring kids around the world.
Awesome. So what kind of age is the student?
Well, we have a competition for students in the age range of 15 to 18. It's important to influence students as young as possible to consider science and engineering and math. Space has this marvelous effect in helping them turn in that direction.
What do you need to do to qualify for such a competition?
Well, it varies by country. So what we do, we have national coordinators, and we really appreciate the great work they do in promoting and coordinating World Space Week in their nations. We have over 60 of them. And so some of them have organized national competitions. We allow them to choose the criteria. In some cases, it may be they take tests, they design space art, they build space projects, and they in turn nominate a national winner. And then, at the global level, we pick the best for the global prize. And this year, it was a student from the Czech Republic.
If you could try and condense it down, what exactly is World Space Week trying to achieve other than raising awareness of space?
Well, we're trying to motivate young people to turn toward math and science, and in fact, just to excel at learning. The exciting future of space, we found, inspires children about their future, and teachers can use that to get them to focus on learning any subject. Secondly, we want to reach their parents. Adults need to understand why we go into space. Their support is important because governments around the world have space programs. The population needs to understand the benefits to them, to their countries, of their space programs.
So World Space Week is not only about promoting space to people, but most importantly is about education.
Yeah, it's really, and again, the interesting thing, World Space Week consists of 7 days, and as I mentioned, the diversity of many organizations around the world produces a rich mixture of target audiences and messages, and so we don't give them a message, and so every group does their own thing. A planetarium may try to bring more people in that week by holding special events, educating people about astronomy. Every organization has its own motivations, and so we don't want to tell them what to say. They know what to do and what to say. And so the audience that are reached can vary from place to place and group to group. All we provide is an amplifier, by having this common name, and because of the media interest that results from synchronization.
Why are we bothering with space? I mean, to lots of men, women, and children on the planet, it's just kind of something that's there rather than something that's important. And haven't we really discovered most of the interesting stuff near us already?
Well, as I mentioned before, there are two reasons. One is to explore. Now, in the United States where I live, the notion of a frontier is deep into our culture. Our country kept growing to the west, to the west, to the west until we hit the Pacific Ocean. And there was always a frontier that created opportunity. People could start new lives. They could mine for gold. There's all kinds of things that a frontier could do and offered them to improve their lives. We've hit the border, and the only way to go is up, and all nations can go up. The freedom and the bounty of space is something that is exciting and can create new wealth for all nations. And look at the unlimited energy supply that's in space. How soon will scientists from around the world be able to unleash solar energy to help all countries on Earth. So it's a very bountiful new frontier. The beauty of exploration is inspiring to people to be able to imagine a human setting foot on Mars, the effect that will have. So there are those reasons. But then again, there are some very near-term practical reasons. You know, the United Nations, with whom we work very closely, encourages the applications of space for sustainable development. Now, this can include using assets in space to respond to disasters, observation instruments to help farmers know where their crops need water or need best their help in fighting disease. There's incredible tools that space gives us. I mentioned creating new life-saving drugs from the behavior of life in microgravity. These are all benefits that we're getting today. And of course, you know, the benefits of communication have been around for many decades. There are many, many reasons to go into space.